GMNA uses artificial intelligence for generated speech, visuals, and production. AI-generated content may contain errors. Please verify important information before making decisions or taking action.
Good evening, I'm Mark Beaumont. Tonight we'll break down the armed clash in Verdun that left a man injured and a woman arrested, and look at the new $2.3 billion port expansion starting on the waterfront. Traffic is snarled with multiple road closures, so stay tuned. Over to you, Emma.
Lasso Montreal kicks off next Saturday at the Old Port, featuring over 30 indie bands across 3 stages, with free entry for all ages.
Tickets are available online now, with early bird passes priced at $20, and same-day wristbands sold at the venue for $30 each.
The festival will host 30 food trucks offering local specialties, including poutine, smoked meat sandwiches, and vegan maple glazed donuts, all operating from noon to midnight.
Lots to get to. Let's begin with the evening's headlines awaiting you, right after this quick look at Lasso Montreal's vibrant lineup and community festivities. Here are our top stories. A violent dispute in Verdun turned into an armed confrontation, leaving one man seriously injured and a woman in police custody. Police are investigating the incident. Ramai Gaudreau has the full story.
Police responded to a heated dispute on St. Claude Street in Verdun just after noon, where the argument quickly turned violent. Witnesses say the confrontation escalated when a firearm was drawn, prompting a brief armed standoff. Officers arrived, ordering the parties to drop their weapons. In the chaos, a 32-year-old man was shot in the abdomen and rushed to Verdun Hospital, where doctors say his injuries are serious. 2 suspects were taken into custody, including a 28-year-old woman who was later charged with assault with a weapon. The scene remained cordoned off as investigators collected evidence and spoke with neighbors who described hearing multiple gunshots today. Ramai Gaudreau, GMNA News, Verdun.
Construction has kicked off on a new wharf at the Port of Montreal, marking the first phase of a $2.3 billion expansion. The project, slated for completion over the coming years, will add deep water berths and modern handling facilities to boost cargo throughput along the St. Lawrence River. Officials say the work will reinforce the terminal's capacity, helping keep the corridor competitive for international trade. The $2.3 billion effort is billed as a nation-building infrastructure venture, with federal and provincial partners contributing funding and expertise. Cranes and heavy equipment are already on site, and crews expect the initial groundwork to continue through the summer. The expansion aims to accommodate larger vessels and streamline logistics, positioning the port for sustained growth as a key gateway for goods entering the heart of Canada.
Fire officials in British Columbia announced today that the evacuation order for residents of the Pear Lake region has been lifted, even as the blaze continues to burn. The wildfire, now raging across terrain roughly 3 times the size of the island, has forced families from their homes for 3 weeks. Authorities say crews are maintaining containment lines while allowing homeowners to return and protect their property. Emergency managers emphasize that the fire remains active and that conditions could change without further notice. Residents are urged to stay alert, follow any new directives, and keep clear of restricted zones as firefighters work around the clock. The decision to end the evacuation reflects progress on the ground, but the situation stays fluid amid ongoing smoke and heat. Authorities will continue to monitor weather patterns and issue updates through broadcasts. The community hopes the reprieve will bring normalcy while crews stay vigilant.
A Quebec Superior Court judge has approved a $31.5 million settlement with the Archdiocese of Quebec, ending years of lawsuits from victims alleging abuse dating back to 1940. Matthew Lachance has the full story.
The judge in Quebec's Superior Court signed off on a settlement of $31.5 million with the Archdiocese of Quebec, bringing an end to the long-running lawsuits from survivors of sexual abuse. The agreement covers claims that stretch back to 1940, when victims say clergy members assaulted them. Over the years, dozens of cases had piled up, prompting a protracted legal battle that finally culminated in this payout. The Archdiocese will now distribute the funds to the identified claimants, while the court's decision closes the chapter on this historic abuse scandal. No further civil action will be pursued against the church under the current claims. Matthew Lachance, GMNA News, Quebec.
Police say a pursuit ended in tragedy on the Pierre-Laporte Bridge during the overnight hours of Friday into Saturday. Officers chased a suspect after a traffic stop failed, and gunfire was exchanged as the vehicle reached the span. One person was killed, authorities confirmed. The incident is now under investigation by Quebec's independent police watchdog, which will examine the use of force decision. Police have not released details about the victim or the suspect, but officials noted the chase began when the driver refused to stop at a checkpoint. Traffic on the bridge was halted for several hours while investigators secured the scene and gathered evidence. No further injuries were reported. The Pierre-Laporte Bridge, a major artery linking the island to the south shore, will stay closed until investigators finish their work, and police urge drivers to use alternate routes. Later, we'll hear how a Quebec resident fights a $40 ticket over inaccessible parking meters, plus more top stories. We will be right back.
Every day, important stories happen across the city before any news crew arrives. Sometimes the very first person at the story is you. When you witness something newsworthy, open the GMNA Citizen Reporter app and start your report. The app guides you through every step while your report is delivered directly to the GMNA newsroom. Every submission is reviewed by our editorial team, and approved reports may be featured on GMNA. Get the GMNA Citizen Reporter app today at my.gmna.ca. Your city, your news. Welcome back. Charlie Rousseau of Rouen-Noranda received a $40 parking ticket after a June festival when a coin-operated meter refused to accept payment. Rousseau, who has limited hand function, was unable to hold or insert the required coins, prompting a complaint that the meter was inaccessible. The incident has sparked a local campaign urging the city to replace outdated meters with devices that accommodate users with reduced dexterity. Quebec's municipal parking infrastructure still relies heavily on older machines that demand exact change, a barrier for many residents with physical impairments. Rousseau's case highlights the broader challenge of modernizing public equipment to meet accessibility standards. City officials have been asked to review the situation and consider upgrades, while the ticket remains under dispute. The fine was issued by Municipal Parking Enforcement, and supporters have launched a petition calling for accessible meters.
A man acquitted after 4 decades of imprisonment has reached a settlement with the city of Montreal and the province of Quebec over the 1983 double homicide case. Nadia Bellefeuille has the full story.
After 4 decades behind bars, a man whose name remains undisclosed has reached a settlement with the city of Montreal and the province of Quebec. The agreement comes just days after a provincial court overturned his 1983 conviction for a double homicide, declaring him innocent. Officials said the settlement will address compensation for the time he spent incarcerated and on parole, though the exact figure was not disclosed. Lawyers for the man described the deal as a step toward restoring his life after years of legal battles. City and provincial representatives declined to comment on the terms, noting the decision follows the court's recent ruling. Nadia Bellefeuille, GMNA News, Plateau. Yesterday, a serious traffic collision on Route 105 in the Outaouais region claimed 2 lives and left several others injured, the Sûreté du Québec confirmed. Provincial police said the crash involved multiple vehicles traveling eastward when one driver lost control on a curve, striking a passing truck. Emergency responders arrived within minutes, extracting victims from the wreckage and transporting the injured to nearby hospitals. Authorities have opened an investigation to determine the cause of the accident. Police have not released details about the identities of the deceased or the exact number of injured. The roadway was closed for several hours while investigators processed the scene, causing detours on adjacent routes. The investigation remains ongoing. Police have asked anyone with additional information to contact the Sûreté du Québec. The community mourns the loss of the 2 deceased, while families of the injured await further updates.
6 separate collisions on Quebec's highways have left at least 6 people dead and several others injured, officials confirmed Friday, August 14. The incidents occurred across the province in a single day, marking a sharp increase in road fatalities as the school year approaches. Emergency responders attended each scene, extracting victims and transporting the injured to nearby hospitals. Provincial authorities have not yet released details on the causes of the crashes, but they have urged drivers to exercise heightened caution on the roads. A coordinated investigation is underway, with police collecting evidence from each location. The 6 crashes involved a mix of passenger cars, trucks, and a commercial bus, and medical crews reported multiple injuries ranging from minor to critical. The province's transport ministry said it will review safety measures and consider additional alerts for motorists in the coming weeks.
Quebec milk producers have raised concerns about the Canada-United States trade negotiations, warning that the pending agreement could impact the province's dairy sector. Matthew Lachance has the full story.
Producers from Quebec's dairy sector gathered outside the city's main market today, voicing unease about the latest Canada-United States trade discussions. They told reporters the details they've received suggest potential shifts that could hit local milk farms hard, warning that any changes to tariffs or supply rules might undermine the province's supply management system. Representatives pointed to draft language they say could open Quebec's dairy market to increased imports, a scenario they describe as threatening to the stability of family-run creameries. The group urged both governments to consider the impact on Quebec's producers before finalizing any agreement. The comments were delivered during a brief press conference held on Friday evening as negotiations continue behind closed doors in Ottawa and Washington. Matthew Lachance, GMNA News, Montreal.
Now let's turn to our meteorologist for tonight's outlook, staying ahead of any changes.
A deepening high-pressure ridge and a fast northwest jet are shaping tonight's clear, mild evening. Montreal's heat record is 28.7 degrees, set in 2020 during a heat wave that far exceeded summer normals. The cold record sits at 11.6 degrees, recorded in 2019 when an Arctic surge plunged southward, breaking a warm spell. The climatological average high for mid-August is about 24 degrees with an average low near 16. Today's high of 25 degrees is above that norm, while tonight's low of 14 degrees remains well above the historic minimum, illustrating the tug-of-war between the subtropical ridge and the cool air advecting on the jet's western flank. Scanning the live radar, the map is clear across the province. No rain echoes appear from the St. Lawrence Basin to the Laurentians, confirming the air mass anchored by the high-pressure ridge. With the northwest jet streaming aloft at roughly 147 kilometers per hour, any disturbance would be sheared eastward, but none is present. Expect the clear pattern to persist through the night, with the ridge holding until the hours of tomorrow. At 6 p.m., the city sits under a high-pressure ridge, temperature 20 degrees, clear skies, and a light northwest breeze of 7 kilometers per hour. The ridge is beginning to erode, allowing the jet stream to drift southward and inject cooler air into the region later tonight. With the jet moving at roughly 147 kilometers per hour, any lingering moisture will be whisked east, keeping precipitation at bay. Tonight's low will dip to 14 degrees before sunrise, while the UV index remains at 4 and winds stay below 25 kilometers per hour. No weather alerts are in effect. As the ridge weakens, tomorrow's daytime will be modestly warm, setting the stage for the mixed pattern that follows in the 5-day outlook. Sunday brings an Atlantic moisture surge, overcast skies, and a 95% rain risk, with highs near 23 and lows around 15. Monday stays damp, rain chances falling to 30%, while temperatures rise to 25 up and 17 down as the jet lifts and the ridge rebuilds. Tuesday clears dramatically, delivering a solid high of 25 and a low of 17 under the re-established ridge. Wednesday sees scattered showers, 50% rain probability, highs near 23 and steady lows at 17. Thursday returns to clear conditions, a high of 22, a low of 15, and only a 25% chance of isolated showers. The pattern flips between moist Atlantic incursions and the inland high pressure that dominates late summer Montreal. And that's your weather. Remember, the local sunset is also available as a podcast. Listen anytime on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts.
When we return, heavy traffic updates, a look at Lasso Montreal and Chance the Rapper, plus Saturday Habs headlines. We will be right back.
Every day, important stories happen across the city before any news crew arrives. Sometimes the very first person at the story is you. When you witness something newsworthy, open the GMNA Citizen Reporter app and start your report. The app guides you through every step while your report is delivered directly to the GMNA newsroom. Every submission is reviewed by our editorial team, and approved reports may be featured on GMNA. Get the GMNA Citizen Reporter app today at my.gmna.ca. Your city, your news. Autoroute 15 southbound between Boulevard Henry Bourassa and the Exchange is snarled by a major hindrance, with traffic backed up for several kilometers. At the same time, northbound traffic on Autoroute 15 at Avenue Plamondon is stopped altogether after a broken-down vehicle, forcing drivers onto alternate routes through St. Laurent. Westbound travelers on Pont Honoré-Mercier also face a major delay as the bridge remains partially closed between Montreal and Conoake. Minor slowdowns persist on Boulevard Lacordaire above Autoroute 40 and on Boulevard Métropolitain at Henry Bourassa. Atwater Avenue sees partial lane closures for aqueduct work, so expect a short wait near the downtown core. On the transit side, the SDM Orange Line at Barrie-Ucam is experiencing signal failure, creating moderate delays for east-west riders. Bus 747 to the airport runs on a temporary detour, adding a few minutes to the trip. That's the current picture for Montreal commuters.
Lasso Montreal rolls out on Parc Jean-Drapeau today, a 3-day country extravaganza featuring Thomas Rhett, Mumford & Sons, and a host of rising stars. The mix of Nashville legends and fresh indie voices means every fan will hear a favorite, and the open-air energy is perfect for a summer night. Tonight, Chance the Rapper takes the stage at MTLUS, delivering his signature blend of hip-hop and soul. His surprise appearance keeps Montreal's music scene buzzing, and the intimate venue promises a memorable vibe. For families, the Summer Fun Festival at Marché Central offers free face painting, slime-making workshops, and live entertainment. Kids can dive into slime stations while local artists perform on a pop-up stage, turning the market into a lively community hub. And tomorrow, Lasso Montreal returns for Day 2, promising another round of chart-topping acts and late-night dancing. Don't miss the chance to catch tomorrow's headliners, because the festival's energy only amplifies as the sun sets. And now here's Jason with sports.
Habs headlines heat up as trades, contracts, and prospects shape the upcoming season. Kent Hughes' trade ledger shows several misfires, and the fallout is front and center as Montreal eyes the next chapter. Rookie goaltender Jakub Dobish must translate his breakout year into consistency, while forward Ivan Demidov's new 8-year pact places him among the league's elite average performers, testing the front office's long-term gamble. The 2026 draft marked a quiet shift for Montreal, lacking early fireworks but delivering a calculated gamble. In the late second round, the Habs traded up 4 spots to land Timofey Runso, a former undrafted 2025 prospect whose development curve impressed scouts and could fill a key forward need. Juraj Slavkovsky added another feather to his cap, becoming the first honorary citizen of Budimir and clinching his 4th Slovakian Player of the Year award. As 3 Habs head into a make-or-break camp, veterans Danault and Bolduc embrace the quiet roster, while Noah Dobson still seeks to prove his worth. The Canadiens bolstered their depth chart by signing forward Sasha Pastujov to a 1-year, 2-way deal for the 2026-27 season. Acquired from Anaheim, Pastujov offers a versatile bottom 6 option, giving general manager Kent Hughes flexibility as the roster solidifies ahead of training camp. The power forward Hayden Popinkies, a 6'5" center from the WHL, reflects Montreal's draft strategy of pairing size with skill. After a trade-up in the 3rd round of 2025, he spent the campaign with the Kelowna Rockets, showing marginal improvement that could translate into a physical presence on the Habs' blue line. Kent Hughes may still be dancing for a trade as September approaches, scouting for the right partner to tweak the roster. Even if the window closes, the Habs' core appears solid, with Nick Suzuki entering his 27th year and the squad poised for a competitive stretch without major off-season upheaval. Stay tuned, Habs fans, as the season's story unfolds on the ice.
Thanks, Jason. Good Food Market Corp, tucked into the bustling streets of St. Laurent, has been a staple for Montrealers seeking convenient, chef-crafted meal kits and online grocery deliveries. The company, born here and grown nationwide, was granted creditor protection by a Quebec court this week, giving it breathing room to restructure debt and explore a sale or fresh investment. That pause aims to safeguard the jobs of dozens of local staff and keep the service that families across the province rely on. For the St. Laurent neighborhood, Good Food's kitchen-scale operations support nearby suppliers and keep a vibrant, tech-forward spirit alive on our streets. It's a reminder that homegrown innovation fuels Montreal's culinary future. We'll be watching closely as this story unfolds, hopeful for a bright next chapter. Up next, we reveal why police pulled a high-powered surveillance camera after a media expose and preview the September cycling races.
Every day, important stories happen across the city before any news crew arrives. Sometimes the very first person at the story is you. When you witness something newsworthy, open the GMNA Citizen Reporter app and start your report. The app guides you through every step while your report is delivered directly to the GMNA newsroom. Every submission is reviewed by our editorial team, and approved reports may be featured on GMNA. Get the GMNA Citizen Reporter app today at my.gmna.ca. Your city, your news. Welcome back. Montreal police have taken down a high-powered surveillance camera after a Radio Canada investigation highlighted its advanced capabilities, sparking public concern. Ramai Gaudreau has the full story.
Police crews arrived at the intersection of St. Laurent and Rachel early Thursday morning, dismantling a high-powered surveillance camera that had been quietly mounted on a municipal pole. Technicians cut power, removed the unit, and loaded it onto a van while onlookers watched. The operation came just hours after a Radio Canada investigation aired, detailing the camera's ability to capture facial data and track movement across a wide radius. Officials said the removal was a direct response to the report and community concerns about privacy. A police spokesperson told reporters the unit was taken for further analysis and would not be operational again. No arrests were made, and the city has not disclosed whether a replacement will be installed. Ramai Gaudreau, GMNA News, Plateau.
From early September through early October, a series of citywide cycling races will close streets and reroute transit, prompting significant traffic delays across Montreal. Ramai Gaudreau has the full story.
From September 5 through October 4, 2026, a string of cycling races will thread through Montreal's streets, prompting city officials to warn of heightened traffic snarls. Major arteries such as Sherbrooke, St. Laurent, and the downtown core will see lane reductions, while several bus routes will be detoured or run on altered schedules. Commuters can expect longer travel times on both roadways and the metro, especially during race mornings and early evenings when the courses are most active. The city's transport bureau has advised drivers to follow posted signage and consider alternative corridors. Authorities are also coordinating with race organizers to keep emergency services clear of the routes. Ramai Gaudreau, GMNA News, Montreal.
Thank you, Montreal, for joining us tonight. That armed clash in Verdun reminded us how quickly a community can rally for safety. We'll be back tomorrow with more stories that matter to you. Until then, stay safe and keep looking toward the horizon. Enjoy the night, and we'll see you at sunrise.